Welcome back to the Bluechip Breakdown, Vols fans. I'm your host, Bull. In today's video, I'm going to be updating you on everything to do with Tennessee on the recruiting trail, starting off with the new commitment in the class of 2025 in four-star tight end Jack Vandersleer. Now, I'm not quite sure if that's how you're supposed to say his name, but he's 6'5", 230 pounds from South Lake Carroll High School in Texas. That is a powerhouse. They produced a lot of very good talent. Looks like more of a pass-catching tight end, but he can also block, also shows that he's physical. And obviously, that was a very big position of need for this roster. I'm glad that we're able to close out on a guy in the class of 2025, and I would not be surprised if we go out and try to get maybe 1 to 2 more guys to add into that class from a depth perspective. Now, moving on to those 3 offensive line visitors that we were supposed to have this past weekend. P and I spoke about this some yesterday. Starting it off with Armaj Reed-Adams. That's the offensive lineman from Kansas. Could play guard, could play tackle. We liked him more at guard. Sounds like the staff did as well. And also sounds like he was fine with playing guard. Really liked what he talked about and how he sounded coming out of that visit. We felt very confident that we had some good chances of being able to land him. Since he went back home to Texas, his family has convinced him to stay close to home. He has committed to Texas A&M, so he's off the board. Now, guard was a position of need for us, but it wasn't as pressing as tackle is. So the next guy was Lance Hurd. He also visited us this past weekend, only for a few short hours. Then he went on to see Oklahoma. Okay, talked about him, coming out of the portal or coming into the portal, saying, well, it sounds like Ole Miss could be the front runner for him. And, he hasn't visited Ole Miss just yet, but their insiders seem to think that they still have the upper hand. How that's possible without him having visited, I'm not quite sure. Some of y'all may think that it's NIL, but I've heard enough from the insiders with this program that I actually trust, that have been correct with pretty much everything that they've said, that NIL is not what the problem is. It sounds like we're actually kind of over offering these guys and they're still choosing to go elsewhere. Now, with Lance, he has not chose anyone yet, but he could end up choosing somewhere else. It seems like he's kind of trending away from Tennessee. He's also a guy that Austin Price said could potentially take some more visits next weekend once the dead period ends. So keep a very close eye out on him. He's a guy that I know Tennessee is going to do every single thing that they can to try to land him because, again, tackle is a huge position of need. And Diego Pounds, who was the other offensive lineman and tackle that was supposed to be visiting Tennessee this past weekend, was at Ole Miss. Okay, his mom kind of got to the visit late and Coach Kiffin was able to entice them and, just kind of get them to stay around on campus a little bit longer. So he missed his visit with Tennessee and he has since committed to Ole Miss. So those are the types of things that I was talking about where, hey, we've got to kind of do a little bit more of this sleazeball type stuff to be able to win. And, I know that a lot of people don't like to hear that, but it just is what it is. If you want to win at this high of a level of sports in general, but especially football, especially in the SEC, you're going to have to bend those rules some. You're going to have to do some, little things to, be able to put the odds in your favor, I guess is the best way for me to say it. And, we kind of do things, I feel like, too much on the up and up. We've got to kind of try to press that envelope a little bit more so that we can land some of these guys. So Pounds is off of the table. And, he was a guy that, just like Lance Hurd, I said, hey, either one of these guys could come in and potentially be the best offensive lineman on the entire roster. And that does include Cooper Mays. So why is this happening right now? Okay, we're going to get into that in just a minute. But first, I do want to tell y'all some good news. And that is Tennessee's targeting another offensive tackle in Percy Lewis. He's a 6'8", 345-pound offensive tackle from Mississippi State. Okay, he's a senior, so he will come in with only 1 year left to play. He, came into Mississippi State as a 4-star JUCO guy, played there for 2 seasons. I got to watch some of his film here briefly, and I really love what he's doing. I mean, he's got prototype everything as far as what I saw on film that you would want in a tackle. Now, the question is, why isn't he going pro? Not quite sure there. Maybe I need to watch some more film. Maybe there's some injuries, whatever. But if he's our best option, he's another one that, just like Lance Hurd, just like Pounds, feel like he could come in and potentially be the best offensive lineman on this entire roster from day one. So, he is supposed to be visiting us next weekend. Hopefully, we can get him in. Now, the whole thing about that is Auburn has already got a visit from him, and so has Arkansas. We know what Coach Freeze does. He's going to throw a whole lot of money at these guys. He's a really good closer. Can we outbid them? I think so. But can we do a better job, I guess, in the presentation to be able to close out on Percy Lewis. Something has to be done. We absolutely have got to get a tackle in the transfer portal. Cannot depend on that spring window because there's just no guarantees on what we're going to get out of that window. And we can't get any SEC guys out of that window either. Sometimes it's better to get guys from your own conference that understand what it's like to play, versus these, this caliber of talent. It is different. It's just not the same, period. So hopefully we can, make some things happen out there. And, obviously, as always, I will keep y'all up to date. Now, talking about what the heck is going on, okay? This is something that the guys that are close to this program, some of these other talking heads, YouTube guys and, radio guys, everyone else, they won't be able to say this, but I can tell that they're kind of thinking it and feeling it. Coach Heupel is going to have to, and I hate to say it because I don't want to see people get fired, but he's going to have to find a way to fix the issue with Coach Elarbee because I think that he is the overall issue. I've heard this kind of hinted at before that he doesn't really like talking to these high school guys. He's not big into talking to the prospects. He just likes to come in and just kind of do like the whole scheme thing. And I think that he could be good at that. I think that he is good at that. But as we spoke about in yesterday's video, I just don't think that he's good at teaching the fundamentals of playing offensive line. I just don't. And I also don't think he's the best maybe at identifying talent. Now, I do like, several of the guys that we've got in the 24 class for sure, 23 class. I think that we should be able to find some guys that can come in and do something for us, but it just doesn't seem like we trust any of those guys as a coaching staff to be able to come in and play. That's very concerning. We should have somebody, okay, on the roster that can fill at least one of these voids. And I do think that we can find someone to kind of fill that left guard void. Would like to maybe upgrade there from what we have, but tackle, I don't think we've got anybody. So that's a huge red flag. Coach Heupel is going to have to make some very, very tough, I think, decisions, over these next few weeks. And if we can't bring in one of these tackles in this transfer portal window, I think that we're going to have to, maybe cut ties with Coach E. I think that Coach Heupel is going to find a way to, kind of bring somebody in to kind of help him out for what would, I think, potentially be his last season. And then, again, I don't want to wish, firing on anyone but Sam Pittman, okay, over there at Arkansas. He's another one that he's a great offensive coach. He does a great job of getting in blue chip caliber offensive linemen. That would be my first target. That would be my first go-to guy if I'm Coach Heupel. Bring him in, get the offensive line right, and then hopefully, we can coach the guys that we already have on campus up enough with Coach Pittman to be able to maximize out on the talents of what Nico has in 2025. But those are my thoughts. Please let us know y'all's down in the comments section, okay? And as always, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Please make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks. Peace.